Hey YouTube, welcome to Tatooine. Today we're grabbing a drink in the cantina because in this episode we're going to be reviewing the Mos Eisley's Cantina set. Hi guys and welcome to Brick Talk TV. Terry here, and in today's episode we're going to be taking a look at the LEGO Star set Mos Eisley's Cantina, set number 75290. It was released in October 2020 and consists of 3,187 pieces and is currently retailing for around £319.99. I managed to bag this set early as a VIP in September, and I also managed to bag this Yoda lightsaber as well. And I'll hopefully be doing my first live stream on this channel building this lightsaber, so keep an eye out for it. Or if you're watching this video after I've done the live stream, check the channel out for a recording of the build step by step. So back to today, I'm planning on walking through the build experience of the Cantina set and showing you the features of it, and I'll walk through it in the same way that you would build it as per the instructions. So let's flip over now and take a look at the complete set, and we'll walk through step by step. And then I'll summarise all the minifigures that are included in this set because there's quite a few. So this is the complete set then. We've got various vehicles in here, lots of minifigures. You've got the main cantina space here and you've got some outbuildings as well. So what I'm planning to do really is to walk through you in the order that they sort of built this set up as well, and try and cover some of the key details that you might find. And I'll also open this up as well so you can kind of see what it looks like once you expand it. But to start with, the first thing that you'll see when you open the first few bags is actually you'll start building this land speeder here. And so you'll build up the base of it. You've got some unusual elements on this as well. So you've got the front piece here, which opens up so you can put a figure inside like that. In your first bag, you'll also get a Luke Skywalker with his lightsaber. So that's the first minifigure for our collection here. And then as you go through to the next bags, you'll get this figure is here, which I'm going to get pronunciation wrong, but I think it's Herchekal Faz. I think is how you pronounce it, but I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments below if that's wrong. And then you'll build him as part of the later bags for this set, and he's posed in the back here, looking after the weapons. And then I suppose Luke would go inside the actual land speeder. They've got some extra pieces on the bottom here so that you can actually glide it across, so it's not flat, so it won't hit carpets and things like that. So you could actually, playability factor, you could actually move this across the surface without any problems. So that really preoccupies you for your first few bags. There are of course stickers in this set. There's not actually as many as other sets that you may come across. So I think, for me, I think the stickers were a manageable level, but doesn't mean that there weren't some difficult ones to place. So all of the detail you see, particularly on this area here, on both sides and on the control panels and on the front here, these were all stickers. So there was a little bit of pressure there to get them all level, so they kind of looked okay from a distance, because if you stick these on slightly off wonky, then it's going to make your land speeder not look very good and effective. So just be careful of that as well. So those are the first couple of minifigs and the first construction that you get to build. So let me just put these to the side now. I'm just going to also show you that these outbuildings detach. There's clips here that are just some standard clips, no Technic pins or anything like that. They're just clips, and you can detach these, and this also splits in the middle here between these two if you wanted to detach it further. I'm going to leave them connected at the moment, but there is the possibility to detach these. So let me just put these outbuildings to the side as well, and we'll come back to those at the end, because those are actually the last pieces that you build as part of this set. And we'll make some room for opening this up. So this is the set open up now, and once you've done the land speed as the first few bags, you actually then start construction on the bar itself. So in here, you've actually got all the details behind the bar. It is actually a separate piece that you've now connected to the actual bar itself, and it kind of opens up on two hinge points that are positioned here, so it can open up quite wide and you can get good access into the level of the cantina. But you've got some nice interesting pipes and jars and bottles and things behind the bar. You've got a little door here which signifies that the barman can go inside and out. You've got a rod piece that bends all the way around as well, so that's included inside the set, and you have to clip those into the various clips to give this illusion of a a bar or rail going around the entire bar. And then as you're building this particular set, you get the barman as well, Wuha, I think is how you pronounce it, and he's there with a gun as well, ready to not take any mess from anybody that dares to stand up for him. So that's the first main part of the cantina that you start to build. Once you've built that, then actually you start focusing on this side of the cantina and all the various ground level elements working up. So you start building out some of the little nooks and crannies where the chairs are positioned and some of the tables, and you'll start building those up through quite a few bags to build actually this whole half area up here. And as you're building through that, you'll get like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He'll be one of the minifigures you've got here. You'll also get Cabe as well as one of the minifigures. R2-D2 is one of the minifigs in one of the bags to build this half as well. Of course, you then get C-3PO. So you've got the tag team then of R2-D2 and C-3PO. And then once you've kind of done this main bulk area here of the seating area and the roofs, and just to point out that these roofs do come off here. So these are just these flat roofs on top here are just stuck on with a couple of pins, so you can actually lift these off and get more access or light into those little nooks and crannies, which is quite good if you're doing photography as well, if you want some more light in there. But then as you've built this half, then you start to move over in your build experience to this part here, and this is where there's a nice dome that gives you a bit more of a seating area underneath as well, with a control panel. But then also you get to build this front door here, which lifts up and down. Now there is a note in the instructions that actually in the real cantina that the door actually slides sideways rather than up and down. And the designers made a note that they changed it for this construction, obviously to save space. So otherwise you'd need to have, that sort of the width of the door on the side, which really wouldn't work with the shape of the cantina, as it would collapse into seating areas. So they made slight artistic license changes there to slide the door upwards and downwards. And again, the mechanism for that is quite simple, but using some rail pieces. But I did actually enjoy building that piece, and it's quite a good technique to use for any mocks that you may be building, any sort of sci-fi or future Star Wars buildings to get that technique under your belt as well. As you build this front piece here as well, you also get your first Imperial soldier, which is the Desert Trooper. So you get your first one here with this orange sort of cape over his shoulder. And you'll start to build then the outside detail with these rings where you can put your dewbacks into position, or any other animal you've got to tie up. And it starts to bring this half of the build together. Once you've done this half of the build with this front entrance attached, you then start to attach the bar piece to this as well, using the hinge pieces that run down here as well. So you're starting to form the main half of the cantina at this point. As you do that, you'll also get Dr. Evazan, I think his name is, as a minifigure to add to the collection already. And then you'll also get Ponda Saba, I think is how you pronounce it, as another minifigure as well. So some good iconic minifigures are starting to really come through in even early doors in the build itself as well. So then once you've done this half, you then of course start building up the next half. And the key element really for the first few bags of this build is as you've done on the first half, is start to build some of the base area up for the seating areas. But this side also has the uniqueness of the actual band and the performance that the band does as well. So if I lift this lid off to let some light in, this little nook here is actually where the stage is set for the band. And you start, when you start opening the bags for this half, these are the first few minifigures that come out as well, and they're all in the same bag. So you build all three of them at the same time with their various instruments that they've got, and instructions all included in how to build those in there as well. And so you can start positioning the band, of course, which are quite iconic in the scenes for this particular set. And then you start building up all the different seating areas through the next few bags. You get Momo Nadon coming through as well. So this minifigure here, he's one of the ones that start to appear as you're building this half of the set. And then what you'll find is that this half of the set follows very similar to the other half of the set in terms of you focus on building the groundworks first, then you start getting the seating areas in position, start putting the roofs on, and then you'll build this back section here as well and attach that on similar to how you've done that. And then you'll move through to attaching it to the other half of the bar. So then you get there's the sort of cantina completely formed by this point. Also then the back area here, this is actually a storage room for the cantina. So there's various storage elements, like barrels, there's some brooms in there, a couple of shelves. and the designers were allowed artistic license in terms of creating that, because it's not actually seen in any of the Star Wars films or any other spin-offs. So nobody had an idea of what that looks like. So Lego were given permission to free reign to design what they thought it was. They did also include a back door here, so using the same technique you get for the front door, but looking slightly different. There is a back door there. So if anyone needs to make a hasty exit out the back door, that is possible, which is also good. As you build more of this side up, you also get Han Solo as another figure coming through, and then you get Chewbacca as well. So you're starting to get that partnership coming through on the minifig side. Then before you finish construction of this actual storage room, you do actually get to build this spaceship here as well. This is quite a simple little build. You can lift this lid up as well, and so you get to build these separate pieces together, and they clip on to form this one spherical dome as well. And this is Greedo's spaceship as well, so you get the minifig of Greedo stuck in there as well, which is a nice addition. And I kind of like just to perch him on top of the cantina as somewhere to, he's illegally parked. That's normally how I do it. As you finish this side of the half and you start building some of the detail on the outside, and if we close this up, you can see that just close the Technic pins there. There's some detail on the outside of some boxes. Maybe they're waiting to go in the storage room in the back here, which gives you a bit more detail of some mess going on outside, which is quite nice. But you do also get the Labrio minifigure as well, which looks a bit like a demon or a weird sort of, yeah, looks more like a devil, I think. So you start to add him as well once you're building the detail of this outside. And then once you've got this outside detail done and all of these areas done with this spaceship, you then kind of have finished a large part of it. As you move through then for the next parts of the build, you'll start to build these towers that are positioned here to add a bit more detail to the outside of the building. You'll also start building the roof, which goes over onto the sort of cover the main area here, and that just rests on top, so it's not clipped in, it just rests in the areas you've already created. And so that just gives it a little covering in the middle there. And then on this side, you'll start to build out the holding pen for Dewback, which is interesting as well. And this you get to build, the Dewback actually has some pins on top, and you can actually swap this saddle out just for a plain back. So you can either be saddled or not saddled. And inside his little area here, you've also got a little drinking hole where you can drink some water while he's waiting for the Desert Trooper to go inside. You do also get another Desert Trooper as you're building the outside section here. That would be positioned on top of the Dewback if you wanted to, which is quite good as well. And then you've kind of come to, when you come to a few bags after doing the outside detail here, then that main area is complete. And so the last couple of bags, or probably 3 or 4 bags maybe, is actually then focused on the outbuildings that come with this set. So if I just slide this over here. So this is the outbuildings that you get then, that you start building finally at the end of the whole build. So at this point the canteen is completed. You've got the inside all done. You've got 2 vehicles. You've got the land speeder. You've got the land speeder there, and you've got the other spaceship as well. And then you've got the Dewback holding pen and some of the details on the outside, plus the entrance and the exit for the cantina itself. And then you move over to this one, and you start building it from this end, moving it through. So this is supposed to be a 1-room house that would be situated in Tatooine. And so inside there's just some notion of a sort of a kitchen area where you can prepare food. And then there's also some storage areas inside here. You can lift off these roofs if you want to get access into the buildings and position some figures or get light in there. But there's some nice level of detail on top with an extractor fan, some grills. You've got some storage boxes outside with some bits and bobs. You get your first Jawa minifigure in here as well, so they're staying around here. And then once you've built this, and again as I said, you can detach this, it just clips together, so you can reconfigure this in any way you kind of want. And once you've built this one, you then build this building here, and this is like a junk shop or a parts shop store. So at the back there's another slidey door using the same technique as the other build. And then inside, if you want to remove the dome, you can take the dome off, or you can just clip it up. And then you can see inside there's positions where you can make your figures sit. There is a bar that goes across here, so you can't really get your fingers in to position things unless you remove these bars. But you should be able to poke things through from the front window or the back door to get people to sit there. And then at the front you've got a nice hatch. I did struggle a little bit to get this cloth to stay in place, but I realised I hadn't stuck the rods in firm enough because they kept spinning around and collapsing. But I've sorted that out now, so that sort of stays there as a canopy. And then you've got some details down the side with some bits and bobs stuck together to make it look like a bit of a junkyard going on with some spare parts. Some detail of some extraction bits going on there as well, which is quite cool. And then if you lift this lid up, then you can also open it up, and then that gives you the proper access in order to position your figures as well. So you can get them posed in any positions that you want. And that just clips up with a little clip in there, and then you can just knock the lid down. It doesn't come apart easy, you've got to really pull it apart to get access to it. And this one actually comes with the Grindon minifigure here as well, as you can see positioned there. So that's the last minifigure for the set. And then once you've got that all built, then you can just connect it anyway. So as I said, these clip together there, and then this tags on to the front area over here. But you could obviously position it any way you like. You can detach it, and you can just get the whole feel for the cantina in any way you like. But I did enjoy the variety of the set, but I'll flip back now and I'll give my whole summary for the build experience and what I thought of the set overall. So here's the set all back together, and overall I think this set was an okay build. It has lots of minifigures, as we've seen as we walk through it, and you can see here now placed throughout the model, which is great to create some of the scenes from the films, or maybe to have certain display situations that you can put on your shelf. The build itself I think was okay. There wasn't anything that particularly surprised me, or was any techniques that were particularly unusual to me. I did like this front door here and the mechanism they used to get the front door and the back door to slide up, which was quite helpful. But some of it was a little repetitive, especially when you were building some of the seating areas back to back, and some of the details there. It might have been nice to add some more mechanisms, such as the seat flipping that you've got for the Han Solo scene. So for me it was a moderate build. The main highlight for me is really the dewback that we've got at the front here. I really quite like this model, obviously because it's a moulded model that's of a unusual size. I did like the mini build for the land speeder, and also the actual main bar area itself. That was quite a nice little build. But the rest of it for me was okay. I enjoyed it, but it's not one of my most favourite builds, I must say. I think this set's got really good potential as the basis for building a wider city, so where you can include more of the Tatooine different buildings around it, and you get more of a landscape. So there may be some larger set builders that want to build the whole scenescape from the film, and so this probably gives you a good head start and give you some ideas how to model further buildings using some of the light tan coloured pieces to get some of the visual effects of the exterior of the building. So I think for that purpose some of these things are going to be great. I did also like the amount of variety that there was in terms of different buildings. So you weren't just building the cantina, you built some of these extra props around the sides, some little vehicles. So you got the spaceship here and this land speeder, and then you got some of the outbuildings with the shop and a house as well. So those are good touches, and I think you could probably replicate these with variants to build up a bigger landscape outside as well. I do also, you know, the number of minifigures here is a real bonus for me, because you can get a head start in populating your city or Tatooine as you start building it up as well. And so for those, I think it's a great set for those avid Star Wars fans or collectors that are going to be pursuing a wider cityscape, and you can add to it. So this gives you a great place to jump off for. If you're not in that category and you're not an avid Star Wars fan, or you're not planning to build a wider Tatooine sort of cityscape, then this may be an okay build. I mean, I think that's probably what camp I'm sitting in at the moment. I'm probably going to display this on a shelf. I've no plans to include this in a landscape at the moment. Who knows, in the future I may. And so for that reason, I've seen some people refer to this as just a tan box. You're building a tan box. But for me, I imagine this is probably more interesting than the Nintendo Entertainment System build, for instance, given the variety of details inside and the different scenery that you all recognise from the films as you go through the build. So for that, I think if I was to give this out of 100% score, I'd probably put it around 60 to 70 for me. So it's a good build, not the best compared to some of the other sets that I've reviewed before, but certainly not the worst. So it's got a semi thumbs up for me. It'd be great to see what you think, and put some comments in the comments below. Have you built this, or are you thinking about building it? Is there anything that I've not covered in this that you're interested to see more of, or to understand in better detail? Do stick them in the comments below. And if you found this review helpful, do hit that like button and be sure to subscribe with the bell notification turned on so you'll be notified of future Lego sets, whether those be Star Wars or non-Star Wars sets that we review on this channel in the future. And until next time, stay safe and I'll see you then.